Welcome, 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 everybody. We are here. I am live. You are alive. I'm alive. I am back to Wednesday night lives. I know it's been a while. I've just been kind of been working on myself and implementing the lives that I do. I'm implementing them and the experience that I've had. So, hello, Jamie. Keep watching. So, tonight's topic, you can probably watch it for a little bit, get what you need, and then if you watch it in the middle, you'll get something and then leave. So you will not hurt my feelings if you do not watch the whole thing. If you're drawn to me, my voice, my face, the topic that I'm talking about, great. Watch it for as long as you feel the need to, and then move on. Okay, you do not have to watch it for the whole hour. But I really appreciate it if you do, because there's a lot of content. I speak from the heart. I speak the truth. I speak from experience. And I'm here to help you, because chances are there's someone out there that's going through the same thing or has that I'm going through, or that I have gone through. Okay? Tonight I want to talk about something that really hit me hard this week. And this is kind of like how my shadow work has been going. I'll be in the thick of something, and then I'll be asking spirit and my spirit guides and myself and my higher self and all the parties that be to kind of help me find the answer, or really find the lesson that I need to learn. And so when I do that, hello, Carrie, there's something that's the synchronicity that happens. So when we manifest, or the law of attraction. So anytime I ask for a sign or guidance, I usually get it. And I have been struggling with something for a while, for the last 2-3 weeks. And I finally got my answer, I got my lesson, and I got my aha moment. And why this is such a big deal and why I want to share it so explicitly with you, my audience, is because I've been begging for probably since, hello, Jane. I've been probably begging for this since I started my faith journey, faith-based journey. And it all just kind of, the dots connected, the puzzle pieces just fit together, and everything just kind of came in alignment. And it was like when you're watching a mystery movie and you're like, God, there's just something about this movie. Like, when am I going to know the plot, or when am I going to know what happens? And then all of a sudden, right before the ending, you get this oh my God, it's I should have known that. So the last couple weeks, I thought I was in a calm, grounded observation mode. I had taken a step back in one of my relationships, and I had decided that I needed to take a step back and just observe the relationship, and without cueing it, without prompting it, without leading it, without initiation, and without engaging a lot. I was present, I was receptive, I was warm, I was open. So it's not like me and this person were doing no contact. It's just that I needed to see something in this person. And so I decided willingly to take a step back and just to be like a watcher, and to observe the behavior of this person. But what I realized is I actually wasn't. Okay, I'll step back. So during this whole process, in these 2 to 3 weeks that I was doing this, it just felt weird. It didn't feel like I was setting the boundaries, and I was still being honest with myself, and I felt like I should have been feeling more empowerment. And I just felt like something was missing. Something was wrong. And I felt guilty. I felt guilty for setting the boundaries. I felt guilty for pulling back. And I even asked myself, like, maybe I'm being too cold. Maybe I'm being too cold. Maybe I'm being, and I really wasn't. I wasn't. At least I don't think I was. I have to ask that person. I was doubting my process, my whole process of what I was doing. And even after that, even after like, nope, Tanya, you're doing the right thing. You're pulling back, you're observing. Something still was lingering, and it just didn't feel right in my body. And so that was making me anxious on top of that. And then just the thoughts that I was having about this person and about our situation and about our relationship was really focused on the past. And a lot of it was the future. And I realized, and I'll get to that because there's a lot of information that I want to share. I realized that I wasn't in the moment. And I was living in this past and future, and I was replaying old moments and old memories, and I was scanning for what next, and it just felt heavy and it felt sad. And it was affecting like the intimacy, the openness and the intimacy that I really wanted to, hello Sarah, that I really wanted to express. And because like this person really wasn't doing anything wrong. I needed to take a step back and just to give the relationship a little bit of space to see, hello John, to see if this person could engage and initiate without me leading the relationship, without me doing initiating conversations and asking the questions. And so I really needed to take a step back. And it started to get like exhausting. And I'm like, this is supposed to be a really empowering moment for me. Like, what the F is going on? And so I didn't fully understand what like the missing piece was and why I was feeling so like heavy about this. And this is supposed to be like an empowering moment. It's supposed to be like, I'm in my element, like I'm setting boundaries, and then this is like part of self-love, and I'm learning new skills, and I'm developing new skills, and I'm like implementing a lot of self-love techniques that I learned and that I share and that I promote. And I'm like, why is this feeling still so heavy? Until something clicked for me. And when I shifted into the present moment, it was like my nervous system just finally like exhaled, and we're like, oh my God, like you finally get it. Like, hello, V8, and I'm sharing this because I know that I'm not the only one who struggles with trying to be in the moment. And that comes from a trauma response. It comes from a trauma response for me of living in my life and even in my past life. If you've been watching me, hello, D. If you've been watching me, you know that I talk about my past lives quite a bit. There's a lot of pain and persecution and turmoil that has happened in my past lives as I would say, witch or a person that was a healer and dealt with holistic style healing and used the moon and the seasons and the earth for healing purposes, okay? And that was like taboo back in those days. And my trauma response comes from years of pain and neglect and turmoil and disappointment and lack of consistency and all these things that as I was raised, I should have had, a child should feel safety. And I never felt safe in my body growing up. And it wasn't all from this life. I think it was just snowballed in those memories and getting triggered, as a Gen X kid, we pretty much were raised on, I'd make a joke of this, hose water and neglect, but a lot of it can be detrimental. A lot of it can be more intense than just the little things that we joke about, okay? So mine was a trauma response, okay? And when I had this shift this week, it was like my body finally caught up to my brain. So like my brain knew that I was pulling back and that this is a good thing, this is safe, this is boundaries. But for some reason, my body was feeling the opposite. And I think there was maybe a little bit of either ego trying to kind of wiggle her way back in. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you know I talk about the ego quite a bit, and that I have given my ego a different job, and now she is calmer. She's now my cheerleader and not my bouncer. And so I wasn't understanding why I was feeling this way. And I thought I was on observation mode. At the same time, I was replaying all the hurts. I was worrying about that. Oh my God, this is going to happen again. And I need more assurance, and I'm waiting for proof of assurance. And oh my God, the waiting. Waiting is so hard because our nervous systems don't necessarily like uncertainty, and it keeps us on high alert. It keeps us on that fight or flight and looking for signs that we're safe. And in that part of life, we cannot control. And people with trauma responses and trust issues like myself, we struggle with not having control over something that we want to change. And we believe that we deserve it. And we do. We do deserve to be reciprocated, and we want that change, and we want that affection, and we want that person to see us as we see them or as we see ourselves. And so it's very difficult for a person in a trauma response especially when they're trying to heal from it, and they're really trying to find out like where this is all coming from. So this mindset put my body back into this pulling back mindset. Kind of did the opposite of what my brain wanted it to do, because I think my body was still trying to find that alignment and find that connection and find that true safety. And so my mindset put my body back into that fight or flight. And, you know, that always preparing. That fight or flight is like you're always preparing, you're always protecting, you're always gauging, you're always bracing. And, you know, I realized in cognitive therapy over the years how detrimental that being in this state of hypervigilance had affected my relationships and affected also my memory, because by always kind of being in a robotic scanning mode for danger, I never truly was in the moment to appreciate the experience of what I was experiencing. So there's like times where I'm like, you know, not just like memories from my childhood, but like memories from like maybe a couple years ago or 5-10 years ago. And I have, you know, expressed it to like my husband or family or friends, and they're like, how do you not remember this? Like, this was something that was either so fun or so disturbing. Like, how could you not remember that this happened, or that you know? And it's like, well, because they're like, you know, I'm like, well, how do you remember? I would say, how do you remember that? And they're like, how do you not remember this? So I think my body has just been in so hypervigilant, hyper flight and fight mode that I just couldn't enjoy the moment. And that's what I'm really working on. If you've been watching me, you know that my New Year's resolution was to practice being in the moment. And I literally got like the bitch slap I needed at the end of the year. It's so awesome. I never even thought about that, you guys. I just literally thought of that right now. That my New Year's resolution, and it's like the middle of December, that I finally got like what I wanted. Oh my God, I'm getting chills. Okay. So what I'm going to share with you, keep watching, because I'm going to read to you what I found on Facebook. If you are my friend and you are on Facebook quite often, you might have already seen this, but for those that are just tuning in and didn't get a chance to see my post, I'm going to read it to you right now, okay? I shared it. This is not something I wrote. I found it, I shared it, and I printed it out, so I'm going to read it to you, okay? And what I want you to do is, when I'm reading this, I want you guys to really think about how your body is feeling right now when I'm reading this, and just let your mind kind of go in between things that have happened in the past and things that you don't know about the future. Okay? So try to kind of pretend how I feel from my whole life. Like kind of pretend, kind of put your feet in my shoes and kind of listen to the words and let yourself just kind of get lost in the words and the feelings, and just pay attention to what your body feels. And then if you can, like, comment. Okay? All right. So the past is already gone. It cannot touch you, hurt you, or change you anymore. The future has not arrived. It has no form, no certainty, and no power of its own. Yet the mind keeps traveling back and forth between these two illusions and calls it suffering. Memory replays what was. Imagination invents what might be. And the present moment is left unattended and unappreciated. This is how pain turns into prolonged suffering. This is a central insight. Suffering does not come from life itself, but from the mind's attachment to thoughts. When we relive the past, you open old wounds. When you worry about the future, you create pain that has not happened. The body is here. The breath is here. Life is happening here, right now. Peace begins the moment you return to the present. I want to talk about that. That's important. Not by forcing thoughts away, but by gently seeing them for what they are, memories and projections, not reality. You don't need to fix yesterday. You don't need to control tomorrow. You only need to be here right now. Freedom is not found by changing your past or predicting your future. Let me repeat that. Freedom is not found by changing your past or predicting your future. It is found by waking up in the present moment, the only place where life actually exists and actually matters. This stopped me dead in my tracks, and I read it a couple times. I read it twice because it moved me so much that I could actually feel the shift in my body. This is exactly what I needed to feel, because I had been living my life in this icky, dark, sticky, heavy, sad, depressed state of uncontrol. And I've been begging God to heal me from whatever has made me think that I want to survive in this state of mind. And I know that it's from my past. It's from the past. And if it makes me so, this is what's just bananas, you guys. If it makes me so icky, why would I want to be there? And so what I learned is that, I'm just going to look for some notes here because I've got lots to share. Where did it go? Anyways, maybe it wasn't important. It'll come back. Oh, okay. So why I kept staying here is because sometimes familiar, no matter if it's painful or not. And I think this makes sense with why we stay in bad relationships, why we stay in abusive relationships, because we are so used to familiar that anything out of familiar is scarier than the actual pain that we're feeling in the familiar. Does that even make sense? Like, when I'm saying it out loud, it's like, how could anybody even want to live that way? And so I found this when I was deep diving the notes of trying to find like some fun little things and some powerful things to say. And this is one that I found, and it was, the repetition wasn't because I didn't learn, but because I was learning in layers. So think about something that you have tried to do in the past. whether it's like advance in a sport or a hobby, or like in school, like in a sports or in a job, or in my experience, I've been trying to like fix this part of myself because I finally had realized like how detrimental this was. And so like that really makes a lot of sense because like when we think of something, well, why can't I do it? Why can't I do it? Or why haven't I learned it yet? Okay, so have you not learned it? Or are you just learning it in layers and now you've gotten to that layer? And that's where like people get confused about shadow work and this type of lifestyle because it's an onion. It's an onion. And any type of faith-based lifestyle where you actually do your shadow work, and even in like an AA 12-step program, you go to the root cause, why you are who you are and what you do, what you say, and where your quirks come from and your belief systems. You got to go to the deep. You got to go to the surface and find out where it comes from. And that is layers and layers and layers of healing and epiphanies and aha moments and relationships and experiences and receiving, letting go. It's surrendering, forgiving. It's all that. And so that statement really confirmed what the hell I've been doing like in the last 4 years. Like I have been learning it, and I should have been giving myself a lot more grace because everything that has happened since I started this journey and surrendered to being a better person and living a better life, like it has like, I don't know, it's just, I feel kind of euphoric today because as I think about it and as I speak right now, it's like there's more puzzle pieces, like they're just falling. It's just like, it's kind of like, what's the game? Oh, I used to play this all the time. Tetris. It's just like everything is just falling in alignment. Stay with me. Stay with me. So this stopped me dead in my tracks. I had to read it again because what I was feeling in my body was icky. And I was like, oh my God, all I need to do is stop thinking about the past, ruminating about the past. Sometimes there's things when we get triggered, triggers or activations happen because we need to learn a lesson and we need to look at things differently, or we need to let something go, or we need to admit something. Something needs to there's usually action that needs to be done about something when we are triggered or activated. And I think what happened is why I decided to pull back was because something that happened, I let myself be vulnerable with this person. And even though my brain was focused on not setting expectations, because that's part of my growth, to not set expectations so that I'm disappointed. I didn't, but I think my body was setting that expectation. And so my nervous system. And when the nervous system didn't get that expectation met, I think my body was triggered and activated and then was like, whoa, okay, I need to take a step back. Instead of reacting the way that I used to react, I took a step back and went like, how can I set a boundary? How can I give myself a timeout without blaming or shaming this person? Because they really didn't do anything so-called wrong. But in my nervous system's brain was thinking they did. And so I had to kind of let my nervous system catch up to my brain. And I think that's what happened. And I think the trigger that I had was taking over the observation mode that I wanted to be in. And it didn't dawn on me until recently that I was practicing this observation mode in fear and not in hope and not in a respectable place. And I didn't know that. So, you know, I apologize. I'm going to apologize to this person. You know, sorry, you didn't know I was in observation mode, so you probably weren't even aware of what I was doing because I was still present. I was still showing up. But how this has healed me is because I could finally, for the first time in my journey, feel it in my body, feel the difference. Because since like the last probably couple months, I've been feeling anxiety free, and I've been feeling really good about my situation that I'm in with my marriage, and things are progressing nicely. And I think what happened is I got a taste of what peace feels like, what anxiety free feels like. And it's been feeling pretty good. And then I got like triggered, activated. And I think I needed to feel that again because I hadn't been in the past and the future mode, because, you know, like we talked about divorce, and then we decided not to. And so since we decided not to, I haven't had to really think about this way or that way, you know, like the past or the future, because I'm trying to focus on being in the moment and creating a safe space for my husband to meet me halfway, and creating also a safe space for me to meet him halfway. So it was really profound, and I learned a lot just by experiencing this, because it gave me a taste of what I used to do and how fucked up that was and how icky it was. But I stayed there. I was there for most of my life. And I think because I had so much distraction with the kids that I don't even think I realized what I was doing until we went through, like, my dog died and I went through menopause, and, you know, we really got deep into our faith-based lifestyle. And then my son left for the military, and my other son went through a breakup. And so it was a lot to go through. But I think I was so used to just surviving, just going through the motions, that now in my spiritual life, my journey was to find self-love. And what that pertained to was no more of this lifestyle. Like, they're like, Tanya, if you want self-love, we're going to show you what that looks like. And it's going to hurt, because we're going to slowly and sometimes intensely start ripping off those Band-Aids, and layer by layer. And sometimes we're going to pull the skin with. So it's going to hurt. And it has hurt. But doing this type of lifestyle, and the way that I feel right now, speaking to you from my heart, from the truth, is why I still continue to do this. Why I let myself fall, and why I pick myself back up. Because I know that there is somebody out there listening to me, going through the exact same thing, trying to live their lives in the moment, trying to accept the people in their life more, and trying to feel okay with accepting them as who they are, because they want that person to be in their life, and controlling them just isn't healthy for either one of us, for anybody. When we live in the past, the body relives pain. When we live in the future, the body lives in fear. When we come back to the present, the body finally gets the message. I'm safe right now. And that was one of my mantras when I was really deep, thick into anxiety when Travis and I separated, because it was just like, poof, he's not here anymore. And I've got to pay the bills, and I've got to take care of the house, and I've got to, I'm by myself, and I don't have anybody to talk to, and I don't have anybody to cook with. And it was a lot of unfamiliar. From being in a survival mode of familiarity, going to unfamiliarity. And we had been in this roller coaster for years, and finally there's action. Finally, we're actually doing what we have said we were going to try to, like, separate. So we're like finally doing it, and we're finally experiencing what it means to be separated. Like, all that unknown that I was living in is finally happening. So a part of my body was actually relieved when we did separate, because I said part, because I had imagined what it would feel like for so long that it was almost a relief to know, okay, this is what it feels like. Even though it sucked, it really sucked, I was actually in the moment and I was experiencing it. So my nervous system was like, okay, this is what it feels like right now. And we're going to let you feel both sides of the coin. I noticed how much lighter I felt. I noticed how my mood shifted without effort, and how I wasn't ruminating, how I wasn't predicting or emotionally guarding. I was just here in the moment. And in that presence, I realized something important. I actually liked how I felt. And that, I think, was the true lesson that I needed to learn. I needed to be able to feel how being in the moment actually felt, because this whole year has just been kind of crazy with the separation and the moving out, and now we're back together. But, like, it was hard to focus on that New Year's resolution when all this other kind of uncertainty and not knowing where our relationship was going was actually happening in real time. Like, it was in the moment, but it wasn't like the best moment. You know, it wasn't something that I really want to remember, but I will, because of all the lessons that it gave us, for sure. But when I read that thing on Facebook, and I actually, like, I don't even remember what I was doing. I don't know if I was in bed or if I was at work, but when I read it, I was like, it was just like, it overwhelmed me so much. And I'm like, I gotta read that again, because I know that I'm supposed to read that again. I'm told I'm supposed to read that again. And I read it again, and I'm like, oh, this is so simple. Like, I can change everything about my life if I just do this. And I can change my relationship with my husband, and I can change my relationship with my children, and I can change my relationship with my job, and I can change my relationship with the future and with the past, and I can deal with it better and deal with my triggers and my activation, because you're triggered in the moment about something that happened in the past, or you're triggered in the moment about something that hasn't even happened yet. So when I'm triggered, I can actually, it'll cue me to go, okay, stay in the moment. We're triggered. That's okay. We're triggered because the universe wants us to practice what we learn, wants us to implement all our changes. And, patience is a hard one for me. Patience is really, really, really hard for me to grasp. And because I'm so intuitive, I kind of already see, like, things unfolding, perhaps, even though, like, the future it's already changed. Like, it's already, even if I would see it now, I mean, there's so many elements and there's so many variables that change the future. So, like, that's the misconception with being a psychic, is like, I can do a reading for you today, And if I tell you that what I see today for your future is this, that, and the other thing, and then 6 months go by and you're like, well, you said this one happened, and why didn't it happen? And it's like, because there's so many other variables, there's so many infinite, time does not exist, there's so many infinite timelines that can happen, and other things influence every single timeline and every second of those timelines. So I'm reading your energy in the moment. I'm not reading it in the past, unless we're doing a past life reading. But I'm predicting your future based on the energy that I'm reading from you right now. So that's the misconception. Just want to go through and see if I missed anything. Living in the past, in the future mode, is survival. Living in the present is regulation. And I wrote down what, like, this condition that I have is called, because I wanted, because I know there's some science nerds out there. Did I not bring that page with me? Oh, so this kind of, I'll just say condition. I mean, it's like a sign. It's like I'm going to get psychological on you. And it's called temporal dysregulation. It's when we are caught in between, we're caught in between the past and the future. And we can't seem to kind of realize the reality. And once you actually start thinking about that and imagining what that feels like, if you've never felt that way before, it's icky. It feels, I'm trying to like describe what it feels like to somebody that's never, that has never experienced this before. Because I was talking, my husband and I were talking about this aha moment that I've had. And I'm like, I really need you to understand what this feels like for me. Because my demeanor changes and my mood changes. And I'm a little standoffish. And I just need you to understand that when you start to see me and the more we're together and the more we keep working at not being there, hopefully we will both start to recognize when I'm starting to sway, because I've been this way my whole life. I've been this way my whole life. And it's hard to retrain your brain and your body and your nervous system to do what you want it to do when you've been away a certain way for so long. Now, that is not an excuse. I will never say this is how I've been and I don't want to change. You need to accept me because this is how I've always been and this is how I'm going to be. No. I believe that we have the power to change our reality and to be exactly who we want to be, no matter what. No matter what. And I'm actually using that right now to kind of reprogram my brain for weight loss, because we have the fabric to mold our reality. It's up here. And we can use our brain for something way better than just stupid ruminating thoughts. We can think about and manifest how we want in our life, and that's the thoughts that we should actually be focused on. Not all the stupid thoughts about the past. We can think about the future, but let's be optimistic and positive about the future and not have it like run our lives fear-based. You know, we don't know what the future is. No, like, let's create our future. Let's manifest it. Let's bring it to fruition, you know? So once you feel the difference in the body, you'll recognize it faster next time. And I think that this will work. I'm going to keep you guys all updated and see what happens. I've probably been on here long enough now, and I'm going to wrap this up. I just want to go through the rest of my notes. The heaviness disappeared. The rumination stopped. This is what I've been doing for years, fight or flight. I think I needed to feel how heavy survival mode felt again, so I could really recognize how good presence feels and how quickly I can shift back on my own. If you've been feeling heavy, disconnected, or emotionally tired, it doesn't mean you're broken. It might just mean your nervous system is living everywhere except where you are. And the good news is you can come back. Sometimes it's one breath. Sometimes it's in one moment of awareness. This moment is for you, and you're allowed to be here. That is my mantra that I have on my phone. This moment is for me, and I'm grateful to be part of it. Because not only do I need to focus on being in the moment, but part of really anchoring myself into the moment so that I stay there and so that I can enjoy it and experience it and remember it is to be grateful for it. Okay. I think I said that. It wasn't that I was doing it wrong, but I was doing it the wrong way. That was when I was talking about the pulling back part and why I felt so guilty for doing it and why it just didn't feel so empowering. It's because I wasn't pulling. It wasn't the fact that I was pulling. It wasn't wrong that I was actually pulling back, but I was pulling back out of fear. And I should have been pulling back out of empowerment and out of hope that I'm just doing this to set a boundary. And I thought I was, but the body, my nervous system had something else in mind. So let me finish my notes, and then I do want to pull a card. Okay, I think that I have went through all my notes. If you want that script that I wrote, I would love to know how you guys felt while I was reading it. And yeah, I would love to know how you guys felt when I was reading that, because it totally moved me. And I this is what happens, like when I'm in sync and all these little different things are happening, the synchronicity, the laws of attraction, like stuff I manifested is happening. It just confirms that this is why I do what I do. This is why I go through the pain, because I have moments like this where I now can take this moment with me forever and keep it in the moment forever. Okay, so I am going to pull a card, and Spirit, use me as a conduit. Higher self, I'm here. I am surrendered to this moment right now, to the energy of this hot glue on my table that I had to get off. I'm here. I want to relay a message for the collective, my family and friends and followers that are watching. So give us the right card, or the card that you feel is appropriate right now, is fitting. Okay. Breathe. And number one, how perfect is that? So that is how we can, when we focus on our breath, that is one of the things that a lot of people, therapists, people that meditate, yogis, holistic doctors, spiritual activists, we don't give our breath enough credit. We take it for granted. And just Just ask like somebody that's got emphysema or they wear a mask for whatever reason, it's harder to breathe. It is harder to breathe. I know when I was smoking, it was harder to breathe. And I decided that I wanted to feel better because I was using my breath in a non-helpful way. I was still breathing. I was still taking the breath, taking the break, but I wasn't utilizing that break to breathe in a very helpful way. So I quit again. And it was easier this time for some reason to quit cold turkey. But focus on your breath, because that's all, in that moment there's science to it. So when you take that breath, it brings oxygen into the body and brings it to the amygdala and regulates the two parts, the brain and the body, to kind of go, okay, we need to cooperate here. And so that's what breathing does. People just think, oh, I'm just taking a break, I'm breathing. No, there's science to it. There's oxygen that you're inhaling that's going through the blood and into your brain and regulating things so that you can get out of that fight or flight. Okay? It's not just we're taking a break. We're not just sitting here going, oh, we'll just take a breath. No, there's a science, physical science, why we are breathing, because it does help regulate the left side of the brain, the right side of the brain and the body, the nervous system, the amygdala, all of it, the cortisol levels, the adrenal gland levels. Like, it makes sense. There's science to it. So do it. All right, let's read from the book. And then I will say goodnight. And Merry Christmas. And thanks for watching. This one I will definitely be posting to YouTube. Inhale, exhale, repeat. Every inhale is a chance to allow yourself to receive what the universe is offering your needs at that very moment. Embrace how that feels in your body and recognize any emotions you might be experiencing. Allow yourself to accept any of those sensations or emotions through your breath. Every exhale is a chance to allow yourself to give or let go to the universe at this very moment. Embrace how that feels in the body and recognize any emotions you might be experiencing. Allow yourself to release any of those sensations or emotions through your breath. I like that because it really emphasizes in here, I never noticed this before, but it's amazing how every time I use this deck and every time I read it, I learn a little bit more, and I wrote it. It talks about in this very moment, both of it. So I think that was very appropriate. Thank you, universe. Thank you all who have been watching. I have found some more friends to friend, and hopefully they will accept the invite to this page. It's a safe space. I hope you guys feel safe. I want it to be safe. I am doing readings, of course, and the deck is for sale, $25. I'm on Etsy, I'm on Marketplace, and I'm doing something new for the new year. So if you book, I don't even know how much I'm going to charge for this. I think I'm going to charge $75. Just came to me. But we go through your 12 months from 2025 and kind of look at, in a healthy way, we look at where you have, what you've done. And then we're going to look at the 12 next months. So interesting. I'm trying to stay in the moment, and now I'm promoting looking at the past and looking at the future, but this is all just supposed to be for reflection. It's not based on fear. It's just kind of mixing information together so that we can make better decisions moving forward. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? The one thing that I am trying to get away from, I am now promoting it in a more beautiful way. Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful Merry Christmas, and we will see you next year.